You keep calling it a productive day, but your body has been quietly begging you to stop for weeks. You wake up already tired, not sleepy, tired. A different kind of tired that coffee does not touch and sleep does not fix. You check your phone before your eyes even adjust to the light, and somehow that small motion sets the tone for everything that follows. You call this normal. You call this just how life is now. But somewhere underneath the routine, something in you has been running on empty for longer than you want to admit. And tonight, once this ends, you are going to recognize exactly why. Here is the strange part. None of this looks like burnout. Burnout in your head is supposed to look dramatic, crying in the bathroom, quitting your job, collapsing on the floor. But real burnout rarely announces itself like that. It sneaks in through habits that look completely fine from the outside. It hides behind words like busy, productive, responsible, disciplined. That is exactly why you have not noticed it yet. You have been treating the symptoms as personality traits. Ask yourself something honest right now. When was the last time you finished a day and felt calm instead of just done? Not proud, not accomplished, calm. If you cannot remember, stay with me, because what I am about to walk you through is going to explain more about your exhaustion than any amount of sleep ever could. There are 3 things happening underneath your daily routine that you have never connected to each other. 1 is about how you start your mornings. 1 is about how you talk to yourself when nobody is listening. And 1 is about a decision you keep avoiding, a decision that is quietly draining you every single day you postpone it. I am not going to explain any of them yet. I am going to show you the habits first, because once you see them side by side, the pattern is going to hit you harder than any explanation could. Let us start with the first one. You wake up and immediately reach for your phone. Not out of joy, out of habit, almost like checking for danger. This one small motion trains your nervous system to start the day already on alert, already reacting, already behind before you have even stood up. You are not lazy for doing this. You are not weak. You are simply responding the way any tired brain responds when it has never been taught a different way to begin the day. The second habit is saying yes when your entire body wants to say no. At work, with friends, with family, you keep agreeing to things you do not have capacity for, because saying no feels like disappointing people, and disappointing people feels unsafe. So you swallow the no, smile instead, and quietly add one more weight to a pile you are already struggling to carry. The third one is treating rest as something you have to earn. You tell yourself you can relax once the list is done. But the list is never done. There is always one more task, one more message, one more thing that needs fixing. Rest keeps getting postponed day after day until your body starts taking rest by force, through exhaustion, through sickness, through a mind that refuses to focus no matter how hard you push it. The fourth is scrolling at night instead of sleeping, even though you are exhausted. It is not really about entertainment, it is about avoidance. Your mind is too loud to fall asleep in silence, so you drown it in noise instead and call it winding down, when really you are just postponing the moment you have to be alone with your own thoughts. The fifth is answering messages the second they arrive, at any hour, as if urgency is required from you at all times. This one habit alone can keep your nervous system in a permanent state of low-grade alarm, because part of you never fully switches off. The sixth is comparing your pace to everyone else's timeline, quietly punishing yourself for not being further along, faster, richer, calmer, more finished with your own becoming. The seventh is skipping meals or eating distractedly, without noticing hunger, without noticing fullness, treating your body like a machine that should simply keep running without maintenance. The eighth is over-explaining yourself, apologizing for things that need no apology, shrinking your needs so you take up less space and cause less friction. The ninth is calling exhaustion a personality trait. You say things like, "I am just someone who cannot relax. I am just wired this way," when in reality, no one is born unable to rest. That belief was learned, and anything learned can be unlearned. And the 10th, the quiet decision you have been avoiding is admitting that something in your life needs to change, and instead choosing to endure it a little longer, telling yourself you will deal with it later when things calm down. Things are not going to calm down on their own. That is the part nobody tells you. Here is where I have to say something that might sting a little, but it needs saying. Some of you are going to watch this and think, well, that's just how life is. Everyone is tired. This is normal. Type that in the comments if that is you. And if instead you feel a little exposed right now, like this video somehow knows your exact week, type that too. Both reactions are honest, and both of them matter here. What is actually happening underneath all 10 of these habits is not that you are weak or dramatic or making a big deal out of nothing. It is that you have been living in a constant state of low-level urgency, where your nervous system never fully exhales. Burnout does not always come from one huge event. More often it comes from 1,000 tiny withdrawals from your energy account, none of them dramatic enough to notice on their own, until suddenly the account is empty and you do not understand why you feel this hollow. The real cause sitting underneath all of this is simple, even if it is uncomfortable to admit. You have never been taught how to protect your own energy, not your time, your energy. Time management will not fix this. You can block your calendar perfectly and still feel completely depleted, because the leak was never about hours, it was about attention, tension, and constant low-grade alertness. If you are starting to see your own life inside this pattern, this is exactly the point where things usually shift for people watching. Not because motivation suddenly appears, but because clarity does. Clarity is the thing that keeps someone coming back to keep learning how to build a calmer, steadier life instead of white-knuckling through exhaustion. If that is where you are right now, this channel is going to keep giving you that kind of clarity, one honest video at a time, so it might be worth staying around for what comes next. Here is the shift in thinking that actually changes something. Stop asking yourself how to do more. Start asking yourself, what is quietly costing you energy that you have never questioned before? That single shift in the question changes everything, because it moves you from fighting symptoms to finally addressing the source. Practically, this starts small. It starts with one deliberate pause before you touch your phone in the morning, even a few seconds of just breathing before the noise begins. It starts with saying no once this week, just once, to something you would normally force yourself into. It starts with resting before you collapse, not after, treating rest as maintenance instead of a reward you have to earn. It starts with putting your phone somewhere else at night, even in another room, so your last hour of the day belongs to you instead of to everyone else's updates. None of this requires you to overhaul your entire life overnight. In fact, trying to fix everything at once is exactly the kind of pressure that got you here in the first place. Real change here is quiet. It is one habit held consistently instead of 10 habits attempted and abandoned within a week. Remember those 3 things I mentioned earlier? The morning start, the way you speak to yourself, and the decision you keep avoiding. Here is how they connect. Your mornings set the emotional tone of your nervous system. Your self-talk decides whether rest feels safe or feels lazy. And the decision you keep avoiding is usually the loudest energy leak of all, because avoided decisions do not disappear. They just sit in the background quietly draining you every single day you delay them. You are not broken. You are not lazy. You are not failing at life. You are simply someone who has been running a system that was never designed for actual sustainability. And now you finally know which parts of that system need to change. That is not a small thing. That is the entire turning point. Tonight, before you fall asleep, pick one habit from everything you just heard, just one, and change it tomorrow morning. Not next month, not when things calm down. Tomorrow. Because things do not calm down on their own. People calm themselves down on purpose. One honest choice at a time. If even one part of this felt like it was describing you a little too accurately, say which habit hit hardest in the comments. Sometimes naming it out loud is the first real step toward finally putting it down. You do not need a perfect life to feel calm again. You just need to stop quietly abandoning yourself in 10 small ways every single day. Start with one. That is enough for today.